I'm out here in Belgium this weekend just supporting Jimmy Verberg, FMX Forever crew. Jimmy's been a really good friend of mine since I started traveling the world some 10 years ago, and I came out here to do the freestyle demo down in Switzerland last weekend, and he's doing a fundraiser this week here in Zelzate. It's called Rock the Ramp, and we're here to kind of support Jimmy, and all the funds are going to paying off his fines with the city for having a freestyle compound in his backyard and foam pit and all that kind of stuff. So good time. It's always a good time riding with the FMX Forever crew. They're just a good bunch of dudes. You know, we kind of have guys from almost every country, and it's a good group of guys. I love riding with them. The first time I met Jimmy Verberg, I was at Chemnitz at a freestyle event. It was, I forget the name of it now, but you know, it was my first event I ever did out of Australia. I ended up breaking my wrist in practice. Went for a backflip, and the lighting guys turned the lights off when I was halfway through rotation. I jumped off the bike, and when I finished my rotation, I could see the lighting on the landing, and I tried to grab my bike back in the air, and it was too late. I'd already made the commitment, so snapped the wrist and came back. And ever since I've come back to Europe, Jimmy's always been point of contact and a good guy, and now he kind of supports me. All my riding in Europe is bike supplied by FMX Forever and Verberg Motorsports, and supported through KTM. So Jimmy kind of, you know, sails the flag for me out here and gives me bikes and parts and all that kind of stuff. The aircraft filming that we did was, you know, as a dream of mine that I've been working on. You know, I always had this vision of doing things different, and kind of gone through a couple of different concepts of what the new aircraft film could, you know, have involved in it. And to be honest, we're actually working on it now. It's been some hold-ups that we've had to kind of encounter and work our way through, but you know, I've always working out what the new idea to be, and it's always not just about me and what I want to do, it's about what my partners want to do and what they want to showcase. Now we've finally struck kind of an agreement on what it's going to be, and it's a project I've been working on now for a couple of years, and it's something totally different. So it still uses the motorcycle, but in a whole new different way. So I'm excited to kind of get working on that and see what I can do to entertain people. Early on in the stage of being a professional freestyle rider, I realized I had more to give this sport than just the freestyle alone. So I went to the Crusty Demon show, and Seth Enzo was meant to do a world record jump, and unfortunately he broke his wrist just weeks before. So I put my hand up and said, hey, let me have a crack at it. You know, I had no footage to prove to them that I could do it, so it was all kind of based off my word, and it's definitely like a hard point to prove, but I showed up on the day in Ipswich, Queensland, and set 2 world records, and I think kind of let everyone know that I had more to offer than just jumping ramps. 2 closest calls I've had, one was leading up to the jump in Las Vegas when I jumped the football field. I pulled the ramp back for the biggest jump I was going to do, which was 360 feet. And it was from 4th gear to 5th gear, and I just kind of like second guessed myself and was 4th gear pinned and clicked 5th and held it pinned, and right as I went off the ramp I thought I was going too fast, and I chopped the throttle and sailed 300 and something feet, and was just looking at the back of the landing just thinking, oh shit, I'm going to hit this, you know. And luckily, you know, 10 years of racing gave me the skills to be able to get out of that, and it was a close call. That could have been a life ender right there. I had another one very similar in Melbourne, Australia, jumping the Crusty Demons Night of World Records, and just that was like due to weather. I didn't jet the bike when the weather cooled off and the bike wasn't running as quick. I lost 19 miles an hour and came up really, really short. And so I've got away with it twice, but I think a lot of the stuff that's helped me get away with it is super safe landings, you know, and really waiting for the right opportunity and working with the right people, and, you know, waiting for the right circumstances to evolve before I kind of rushed into it and tried to prove myself and go the extra mile and make sure that we've had all the safety requirements there. And the big part of the safety is having a huge safety deck on top. So even though you're trying to jump and land somewhat down the landing, a good 60 feet short of that is still landing. So if you were to come up 25 feet, 30 feet short, 40 feet, 50 feet, you're still going to live. And having that safety in there is definitely part of the reason I'm here today to talk about it. The Rebel X-Ray concept was something that I dreamed up of, and it was a lot of work. But it was really cool. You know, we showcased one of the first ever speed and style events. It's something that we've talked about it recently a lot. You know, I've been working with one of my friends, Brian Manley, and he's got a dream to kind of do something similar. So I think we're going to join forces and try and do something in California. And, you know, out there's a lot more open land and private properties that we can gain access to. And, you know, we have the world's best riders that all come and visit there and live there. So maybe soon in the future we'll have another X-Ray kind of style event and see what we can do with this sport. I think freestyle motocross is definitely in a need of help. You know, we need to kind of change it from where it's at right now, where it's like totally kind of dominated by promoters and the riders are kind of puppets as to what the promoters want to do and what they want to pay and where the events are going to be and who's allowed to come. And I mean, everything from all of that to the judging and everything, I think is just a little bit off cue and skewed a little bit. And there's just so many kids coming up to me, you know, and writing to me on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and all this kind of stuff saying, oh, you know, you're a hero of mine, I want to do what you do, I'm trying to get into freestyle motocross, can you help me, how do I go about it? And what do you say, you know? It's like the top guys in the world are here struggling to make money, so these young kids who have just learned how to do a heel clicker and a seat grab, there's not really a path for them to follow. So I want to do it partly for those guys, you know, and also for these guys at the top of the sport who are kind of like feel like they're almost at a dead end, you know, where to go from here. I think if we have like little creative segments where it's, you know, best whip isn't judged off, you know, what the fans think. If it's judged off the actual how well it's executed and all that, along with all the tricks, you know, I think there could be room for guys like, you know, the Bo Bambergs of the world and you know, Jared McNeils to get, you know, justified results. And, you know, something has to happen sooner or later for the health of the sport. And shit, I'm going to grab the torch and try and do something about it. Now that I'm getting older, I've really realized that I can't just keep running at this rate flat out. You know, you have to have balance. And one thing I've learned in life is you have to have balance, because when you don't, you get knocked down. And with doing the dangerous stuff I'm doing and taking the risks I'm taking, you have to have that downtime to make it all be in perspective. You can't get stuck running off down a road doing stuff because other people want you to do it. Then you'll find yourself in a position where you're taking a risk that isn't authentic and it's not to your heart, you know. So one thing I've always tried to do is just make sure that the risks I take are the ones that are my soul wants to do them, you know, that I'm about it, that I totally believe in it, it's authentic, it's organic, and all the decisions I make in life are all based off that heart feeling, you know. If the heart's not in it, then my head's not in it 100%, and so I can't be in it because it just doesn't make sense. So I grew up surfing, I grew up on the beach, I grew up skateboarding and riding dirt bikes and BMX bikes, so I kind of get back and do that a bit. I've been surfing quite a bit. I was out in Hawaii it was over a year ago, but I ended up finding myself getting towed into a 25-foot wave out the back of Pipeline, and you know, although that was a huge risk I probably wasn't ready for, it was like that's kind of like the stuff I like doing, you know, is being in the water, being around action sports. And when I'm not doing that, when I really kind of slow down, I like to play golf. As boring as it sounds, it's a hard game to hit that ball accurately and consistently, and I've really kind of focused on trying to make that happen. So my kid's into it. I really want my son to kind of ride dirt bikes and have them for fun, but I don't want him to have to kind of make it his job and to have to survive by it. So for the rest of the year, man, it's I have lined up like a bunch of commitments. You know, I'm just really trying. I overcommit myself, but I'm, you know, amongst like trying to do stuff for like bringing awareness to teenage male suicide, trying to bring awareness and give to charities of like, you know, I always have people hit me up saying, you know, my little boy got hurt in a car accident or got hurt in a motorcycle accident, and always trying to give off jerseys and bring awareness and give back to people. So I'm always busy with that stuff. But for the bike stuff, I'm, you know, working with Red Bull and some partners that I've got, and hopefully we're going to be doing some more network jumps. That's really like the goal of mine was, and something I've always kind of said is that Evel Knievel was really kind of like the inspiration for me. Like I wanted to do events that caused worldwide attention, and for the brands I represent, that's their goal too. So we kind of hand in hand on both trying to like cause big events that create big awareness, and so we have plans in play, and you know, I've been storyboarding some ideas and some concepts that are totally like never been done before that hopefully we get to pull off this year, or at least get commitment to work towards them in the future. And obviously trying to get Aircraft 2 happening, and all the stuff I'm doing right now isn't about like just jumping on a plane, building a bike and going out and riding a show, or being involved in an event that's already established. I'm trying to establish my own events that are totally different, that require different partners and different, you know, relationships that haven't been established before. And it's exciting stuff. It's all new and you know, different for me. And I definitely need to put on like the business head at some stages and go into kind of these meetings and talk, you know, for the sport, and try and really kind of convince these like, you know, network executives that this is a good idea for their network. And it's hard when you got, you know, someone trying to jump a motorcycle off a building or jumping over, you know, freeways and stuff like that. It's how is that safe? But I'm trying to, you know, make them realize that, you know, I'm Robbie Maddison. This is what I do. I work hard at being able to kind of stand up and pull these things off, and my track record kind of shows that I can do it. So here we are, man. I got some big dreams and just kind of pushing forward to make them happen. So I'm hoping to bring like a whole new side of excitement to the sport, and bring motorcycles and what we do as far as action sports athlete to the masses in a big way.